Call to order the council meeting for June 4th, 2024. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Right over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
Liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mayor, quorum is present for the City Council, Successor Agency, and Housing Authority.
Public comment. Any persons wishing to address the Inglewood City Council, Successor Agency, Housing Authority on any item on the agenda other than the public hearings may do so at this time for a total of 3 minutes. Hearing no comment, we'll go to item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Move along payment.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members, Successor Agency members, and Housing Authority members, Gray.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Butts.
Aye. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
Mayor, you want me to read it first?
Do I want you to read what first?
PH1.
I do.
Yes, sir. Mayor, the next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider an appeal by Erica Diaz, the applicant, of the Planning Commission's denial of special use permit number 23-00027 to allow the sale of beer and wine for off-site consumption at 3535 West Imperial Highway.
Has the notice of hearing been given in a time, form, and manner as required by law? And do you have the affidavit on file?
Mayor, before we move further, I believe the applicant had requested to have this hearing held over until July the 23rd. So at your pleasure, if you decide.
Okay, well then we'll carry it over to July 23rd. That'd be at 2 p.m.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The next scheduled matter?
Yes, Mayor. The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider the priority community development housing and non-housing need of low and moderate income residents for the development of the 2024 through 2025 annual action plan.
Let's see. Has the notice of hearing been given in a time, form, and manner as required by law? And is there an affidavit on file?
Yes, Mayor. Notice has been given and an affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received?
No communications, sir, have been received.
Is there a staff report on the matter?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll ask Mr. Roberto Chavez, our HUD and Section 8 manager, to give you that report.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, members of the council and members of the public. Thank you for your time and attention. I prepared a brief presentation to walk us through the public hearing. So as mentioned, we're here for the public hearing on the priority community needs. We'll go ahead and go over some of the things we'll be covering today, and I'll go over this briefly. Types of funding, primary objectives of the plan, the budget, eligible activities, programs, community surveys, and questions and answers. Types of funding. Through the Office of Community Planning and Development, funds administered by the United States Department of Housing and Community Development, Housing and Urban Development, HUD, the City of Inglewood receives funds for 2 grant programs, the Community Development Block Grant Program and the Home Investment Partnership Act, also referred to as HOME. Primary objectives to benefit extremely low, very low, and low-income persons or neighborhoods where low-income households reside, to remove slum and blight conditions from low-income areas. What you see before you is a year-by-year comparison of the home and CDBG funding. In the light blue is the CDBG funding, and the darker blue is the home funding. If you can see this next fiscal year, there's a proposed reduction in both programs, with home suffering the larger of the reduction at just under 20%. This next slide is a breakout of how the City of Inglewood allocates the funding through administration, public services, public facilities improvements for CDBG, and for the home activity is broken out in administration, community housing development organization, also referred to as CHODO, and other eligible activities that we'll discuss later on in the report. Overall, the reduction is just under 10% reduction in the CDBG and home funding. Eligible activities for the program, for the CDBG program. And the grants are allocated on an annual basis to entitlement cities and counties to develop viable urban communities by providing decent housing and suitable living environment, and by expanding economic opportunities principally to low and moderate income persons. Here are the current income limits that were published in April of 2024. Moving right along. And here are some of the needs that can be addressed here. So program administration, housing rehabilitation, public facility infrastructure, public services, economic development projects, micro enterprise assistance, code enforcement activities, homeowner assistance. Current year projects. So the city allocated for public facilities and improvements, we have a minor home rehab program that's very popular. Park facilities improvement. Public services include senior meal programs and fair housing counseling. The current year projects for the minor home program, just at $700,000 was allocated. For park infrastructure improvements, $750,000 was allocated. Moving right along for senior meals, just over $120,000, and for fair housing, it was just over $64,000. For administration, was just under $250,000. What you have here is a pie chart of the proposed budget. As by regulation, 65% of it is allocated for eligible activities, 20% is allocated for administration, and 15% is allocated for public services. Moving right along to the home eligible projects and home eligible program. The purpose of the home program is to expand the supply of decent, safe, sanitary, and affordable housing with primary attention to rental housing for very low income and low income families, to assist very low income and low income families to obtain the skills and knowledge necessary to become responsible homeowners and tenants. These are the eligible activities: construction of new homes or housing, rehabilitate existing housing, and rental assistance. Current year projects, as you can see, home administration is at 10%, community housing development organizations at 15%, and eligible activities at 75%. Moving right along. Here's the reduced budget for this year, and the pie chart illustrates how the disbursements are proposed to be used. Citizen participation question: how would you spend $1.8 million in our community? Please go to our community survey. The deadline to complete the survey is June 14th. It is on our website, and the contacts for the CDBG and home program are listed in this presentation. With that, we'll be happy to entertain any public comments, and thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez. Any members of the public that would like to make comment? Hearing no comment.
We want a motion?
Well,
Or I think
there's
it's
no
just
motion, it's just be public comment.
yeah.
So now we'll go to the consent calendar. Items 2 through 6.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. We'll go to DR1 now.
Staff report presenting the fiscal year 2023 through 2024 mid-year budget review report.
So, move 1 and 2, actually, the first one's receive and file, move number 2.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Falk.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Well, we need the motion to wait for the that's two, it's both, it's 1 and 2. Did he move 1 and 2?
Yes.
Okay,
Mayor,
go ahead.
we were on DR1.
We
And so-
passed
Well,
it.
we passed it, we're just gonna do this before we do that.
Oh, okay, so that motion was for 01?
No,
Yeah.
so wait a minute. Just to
No, it's
clarify, do
DR1.
you want to do
No,
01 first?
no, we doing DR1,
We already done.
receive and file, and 2 was adopt. So,
Yes,
so we're,
okay.
so we're done with that. So
Yes.
now we'll have the report.
Okay.
And you're gonna have Kiona do it?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to ask Kiona Buchanan, our budget manager, to give you an overview.
Welcome, Ms. Buchanan. I did, I jumped to the next one.
Oh, okay, you got it.
You were right. It just got a little.
Oh, okay, we're ready. All right. All right, good afternoon, Mayor, Council, members of the public. I am here to present our fiscal year 23-24 mid-year presentation report, which is based on our first 6 months of the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, ending March 31st, 2024. So let's kind of get right into this good news. All right, so this slide presents a snapshot of the general fund budget as adopted October 1st, 2023, and the current modified as of March 31st, 2024, which is our current reporting period, and the fiscal year 24 projected year-end estimated for budget based on the budget review through March 31st, 2024. So at adoption, general fund revenues were 189.5 with an anticipated carryover of 20.3 million, totaling 209.8 in revenues. The expenditures had a planned expense at adoption of 20.3 million. The city was projecting a fund balance of 6.6 million for the fiscal year. That is assuming all that is budgeted will be spent, including the need and use of carryover. Well, following adoption, the city had additional budget adjustments that were made, modifying the budget to general fund revenues remained at 189.5, and expenditures are at 224.7. Now, please note that the modified budget includes the city council's additional approved items and carryover items, mostly for operations related to contracts and incomplete projects. It does not include the carryover in revenues at this time, which will only be recognized upon need if realized at the end of the year. Now, upon further review at our mid-year, based on the current activity as well as the levels of spending, we have projected a year-end of general fund revenues being 228.8 million, and general fund expenditures, at 207.8 million, resulting in a projected year-end fund balance of 21 million rounded. Now, the year-end estimated revenues is based on the anticipation of the overall revenues trending higher than budget, but also due to a transfer in of 29 million from our refinancing of our bond, the pension obligation bond. The year-end projection for expenditures is based on the anticipation of lower expenditures due to vacant positions not being filled within the fiscal year, and remaining work to be completed on continued contracts that will be potentially rolled over into next fiscal year. Now, further assumptions, as noted there, could result in higher revenues and/or expenditures, thus increasing or decreasing the available fund balance at year end. So this slide here represents it makes up the revenue categories for our general fund revenues. Now, what we've done this year, of the total modified general fund budget of 189.5, the city has received 117.4 million, or 62% in revenues at mid-year, compared to 118.4 in the prior year same period. So with that being stated, revenues are fairly flat in some sense or another. But I'd like to note that the revenues at mid-year were reported fairly flat or somewhat lower compared to prior, primarily due to a change in the timing of our yearly financial adjustments. The variances in revenue categories, as you can see, for sales, UUT, and other various local revenues only account for 4 months of our cash receipts compared to 6 months in prior years. And I wanted to point that out because the green lighted shaded boxes can give you the presentation of what our normalized revenues actually are. And so as you can see there, we're actually up, and the contributing factors would be sales tax. Overall monthly sales tax are trending positively, and they are anticipated to mark budget, as well as, though there's an appearance of our admission taxes showing that they're down, I want to be very clear that admission tax, SoFi has reached the cap of $15 million, or their value of what we anticipate receiving, which includes inflation. This year would be $17 million. They've reached their cap of what we anticipate receiving at the end of their calendar year, which overlaps with our first quarter fiscal year, and now also goes into our mid-year. Admission tax were an anomaly this year due to this non-cyclical nature. They're based on football season and events. So therefore, we are anticipating and expecting our admission tax to make budget at $17.3 million, though we have not received much revenues to date, and I've explained the reasoning for that. And the other contributing factor are UUTs.
Excuse me, Ms. Buchanan. Let's make it simpler.
All right?
Okay. We have a cap that was 15 million, it's now 17 million. Is that right?
Yes.
And
because
so
of inflation.
their fiscal cycle
Yeah.
is different than ours. Is that right?
Yes.
And so when they reach their cap in their cycle, then we're waiting for that to start before we start collecting revenues again. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So this doesn't short us at all.
No.
Yeah, I've read some places people say that our admissions taxes have fallen off. Quite the contrary. They've always maxed every year. Is that right?
That is correct.
Thank you very much.
That is correct. And our UUTs, however, though they do appear to be slightly down, however, they are slightly down because of our electricity and gas revenues. They've been changing year over year just because of the changes in distribution for utility users tax related to a lot of different changes with our business development. Okay, let's go on to the next slide here.
Mayor, can I ask a question regarding the taxes?
Which one?
Part of the presentation, or you want to
Okay,
wait until it's over?
I ordinarily wait till it's ended. I just clarify when she says something that's kind of complex so that the public understands it. Questions are at the end. I was making a statement, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, the last contributing factor I don't want to ignore, we have our other local taxes that does have the appearance as well, but I'd like to also make note, if you can see the 18 million over the 16 million normalized, they are also up. So I wanted to make note there. There's a significant rise in our business license taxes due to the increased business development and commercial taxes and licenses, and marginally in residential business tax. So that increase is slightly offset by a decrease in non-residential construction. But overall said, all revenues are trending fairly high, and they are anticipated higher than last year and are anticipated to meet or exceed budget. All right, so we have our mid-year general fund expenditure performance. This is of the modified general fund expenditure budget amount of $224.7 million. The city has expended $84.9 million, or 37.8% in expenses at mid-year compared to 79.2 in the same year prior period. Now, overall general fund expenditures are 5.7 million or 7.2% more than the same period last fiscal year. The overall increase in general fund expenditures is primarily due to an increase in negotiated wages and benefit increases, contract services, and capital improvement projects. So I'd like to note that they all are fairly up in comparison to last year, with the exception to Public Works. Public Works is slightly lower by less than $500,000, less than 7%, and that's only due to a decrease in payments for contracts, as well as machinery and equipment that we have held off and chosen to buy less of this fiscal year. This slide is fairly new. We have decided to add this slide just to give an additional presentation and understanding of how the increases have had an impact on the budget in comparison to prior year, but still under budget in terms of spending based on the overall appropriation. So the previous slide presented you the expense allocations based on the categories of the operations. This one is based on the category of our appropriation spending: personnel service, maintenance and operations, capital, one-time, and projects. So, though we are higher than last fiscal year, same time, this is expected, and again, the city's expenditures for the general fund are still under budget by 24.4% of the proportionate spending of 50% through mid-year. Please note that the expenditures will increase as seasonal activities arise from seasonal or cyclical operations, as well as filling more full-time vacancies and the continuance of spending on outstanding obligations for contracts and projects. So now we have our mid-year special funds performance. These are all of the funds unrelated to the general fund. Our special funds total revenues at mid-year totaled $125 million received of the $218.9 million, or 57.1%. I'd like to also note, in terms of the expenditures, special funds have a total expenditure at mid-year totaling $112.5 million, expensed of the $252.7, or 44.5%. And in both cases, when it comes to the special revenues, which are consisting of gas tax, property tax, grants, which are restricted funds, the revenues and expenditures are fairly down from the prior year, relatable to some changes that we've had with some CDBG projects, as well as some changes and shift that we've had in some Measure R, ITC, and RSI projects. As far as the proprietary funds are concerned, revenues are up $3.2 million, or 14% more collectively from the same quarter of last fiscal year. And the expenses, in terms of proprietary expenses, are also up $2.3 million, or 10.5% collectively from the same time last fiscal year. These increases in expenditures is mainly attributed to the sanitation fund and the water fund, and that holds true the same for the revenues as well. Mostly all of the special revenues are expected to come in line with what we anticipate in terms of budget, and then those that don't will be wavered based on drawdowns. The changes could be based on the drawdowns. And finally, we have our mid-year capital improvement project status by category. This slide shows the current capital improvement projects appropriations and project status by category. The current citywide CIP appropriation is $106.9 million, with a total of $18 million expended at mid-year. The current general fund appropriation is $17.4 million, with a total of $3.8 million expended at mid-year. A total of 33 projects are in the construction phase, and 16 projects are under contract for design. The city is anticipating on all the general fund appropriation to be spent by year end for the general funded projects, which total $17.4 million. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Gray, you had a question about taxes.
Yes, thank you. In regards to the $50 million cap, did I hear you say it's $17 million now?
Yes.
Within,
Does it go up?
for inflation.
So inflation and
goes up for
CPI
inflation.
annually.
And it's actually 17.3 if we want to get exact.
All right, so, do other stadiums have taxes, a cap on admission taxes also? Do you know that or not?
They don't all have admission tax.
Yeah, many
admissions
stadiums
tax.
do not even have admissions tax. Others have admissions tax that range anywhere from 0 to 10%.
So, and
Yeah.
so how did we
1% to
derive
10.
at the number that we came up with? How was that decided?
That's a matter of ordinance that was first passed, I think, about 1980.
In terms of the percentage?
Yeah,
or the amount?
percentage.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
percentage.
for venues over 17 or 18,000, I think it is right there.
Over 17,000.
17,000. Yeah, that's, yeah. Under 17,000 is a lesser fee.
Great, okay, thank you.
Any other council questions? Okay, just for a matter of clarification. Every now and again, I get these Google notifications, and one of them was for a particularly inaccurate publication, and the allegation is that we're going to have a $35 million, projected $35 million deficit for this year. Is that true?
No, as Keona just pointed out, our projected year-end balance at the beginning of the fiscal year was about $6 million, and now it's grown to about $21 million.
Okay. Other places would call it a surplus. We call that a positive fund balance. Isn't that right?
Yeah, there's no such thing as surplus.
Okay, there's no such thing as surplus. And the next thing I wanted to establish, there was a time when the treasurer said that we were going bankrupt. Over the last 4 years, even if we projected a deficit in any of those years, have we ever closed without a positive fund balance?
No.
Oh,
Say that again.
no.
Okay. So now we're going into our 5th consecutive year anticipating a positive fund balance.
Yes.
So, Mr. Weinberg, compared to days gone by, are we in a different financial situation than we were 13 years ago?
Well, I think that goes without saying. One of the things that I was looking at that makes me smile is that we had $17.4 million set aside this year in the general fund budget for CIPs. We had over $100 million total, but $17.4 million. Back 13 years ago, we had zero. We had no money for general fund CIPs. As you know, when I last sat here in 2010, we were weeks away from not being able to make payroll. We were looking at about an $18 million operating deficit, and we had zero reserves. So I'm happy to say, Mr. Mayor, I think we're in a better position.
And we're somewhere in the area of 130 million of unobligated reserves now.
Yes.
So we're in a different situation. So for any of you that read that stupid blog, we haven't ended up with anything but a positive fund balance for going on 5 years now. Thank you very much. And now we'll go to 01.
Yes, Mayor. Staff report recommending that the mayor and council members adopt ordinance number 24-06, establishing pay range assignment and conditions of employment for fiscal year 2023 through 2024.
Motion to wait for the reading.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye.
Move adoption.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Gray,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Fogg,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. A1.
Thank you, Mayor. No oral reports.
Your first time out, and you did that so well.
Gonna say hi, Mom.
So articulate.
Okay, I appreciate it. CM1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No oral reports.
Okay. There are no appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. And so now we'll go to public comment. Any persons wish to address the city council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered on the agenda may do so at this time. Time is 1 minute. Are there any speakers? Hearing none, we'll go to Oh, you know what? I missed CC1, CC1.
Yes, Mary, thank you so much. Was saying, well, maybe he just don't like me no more.
No, no,
I'm
no, no.
teasing. I'm
Still
teasing.
does.
You got to admit
I
it.
guess you thought we were
You
still
can
in
rub it in.
Canada.
Go
It's
ahead.
okay.
It's
Rub
all,
it in,
it's
Aisha.
all in the same print, and it all says reports. So come on.
Thank you, Mayor. I first want to thank my staff, Christine and Christine Padilla and Destiny Wesley, for holding it down for Angela and I. We were out last council meeting, attending a international city clerk conference in Canada. So wanted to again thank my staff. They did a fantastic job holding it down. But now I need to rewind and backtrack. I know the thank yous have already been given from our Councilwoman Falk and Councilwoman Gray, but I would be remiss if I didn't say my thank yous, first of all, to Councilwoman Falk for 3 wonderful years working with you to have such a great event, 180 women in attendance. What a great, that's just great teamwork, and then our Councilwoman Gray joining us this year, her first year here with us. It was such a pleasure also working with you. You were kind and, she was really diligent with getting information and things to us. So thank you so much for your teamwork as well, Councilwoman Gray. I want to thank, I got to start from the bottom to the top, Danny in the print shop, Elsa, Abby in Public Works, our administration, the traffic department, purchasing, finance. Thank you to Thomas U-Haul, the entire Parks and Recreation department, as well as our senior center staff. Thank the ambassador and his staff over there. A big thank you to Malcolm, Councilman Fox's assistant. He was great working with him. And then again, my staff, Angela, Christine, Destiny, Cherie, you ladies rock. Thank you guys so much. Aisha loves you guys. Then I would like to thank our speakers. We want to thank our presenters, want to thank our vendors, and then also those that donated to our event. I want to thank them so much. And then finally to our Inglewood residents, thank you for coming out and supporting us. Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you. And now we'll go to Mayor and Council remarks. Councilwoman Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome back,
Thank
Aisha.
you.
Welcome back. We missed you. And thank you for mentioning the Women's Rock event again, because I think we cannot give enough credit to those who actually made it work.
That's
And I know it was a focus on women, but we couldn't do anything without the men. So
That's right.
thank you, all of you, for being a part of it and making sure that it was a success. And yes, it was. So thank you. I want to thank Roberto and Kiana for the reports today. Thank you very much. I did attend a ceremony, a memorial program at U.S. Vets, I think it was last Friday, along with my fellow council person, Elor Morales was there, and it was a very nice event, and it's always great to go to one of our facilities, and especially the U.S. Vets. They've been there for a long time, and I just was very happy to be on that program. Tariq Carter, I believe, is their new executive director, so thank you to her. She's there in the picture along with our women who were there and that were part of the program. So thank you very much for that. Also, the city had their 75th annual Memorial Day celebration this past Monday. It's always a wonderful event. I've been coming to the event for many years, even before I got on the council. So it was just a great moment to be able to remember and honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. And you can see we're always happy to be a part of that event. There was a wonderful guest speaker, Quincy, I think his name was Quincy Lumford, and he was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, and you can see Congresswoman Waters was there too, and Senator Steve Bradford, so thank you for them coming. But back to the guest speaker, it's always wonderful to hear a guest speaker speak when they really talk about their personal experiences. I think that is what is really kind of good about hearing someone talk. And so Quincy gave a great speech, and I want to say thank you to him and everyone who was part of the program. This month is Pride Day Month, and I want to acknowledge that. I do believe in diversity, and so I do want to acknowledge Pride Day Month. Also, this month is Juneteenth month coming up. Very important day in society, Freedom Day. It is all about freedom, and that was the day that slaves were emancipated. So that's very important that we do recognize that. I am having another community meeting, not a town hall meeting. It is a small community meeting at the ICOP Center. Many of you know that I do meet with individuals every month, and I was asked to have a small community meeting at the ICOP Center. So that is scheduled on June 27th. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Right on time, too. See that, Alex?
Dang, I know you were going to say
Councilman
that.
Padilla, District 2.
I thought you were going to give me like an extra minute. But boy, you went on.
You can't.
All right. So here we go. Memorial Day. Again, it was a great community event to pay tribute and recognize those men and women in our military who made the ultimate sacrifice. And I want to thank the community for coming out to support those that were there, our veterans that also showed up. Really nice to see our community come together to acknowledge and pay this tribute. The following day, I had an opportunity to attend the LA County Fire Department's Fire Service Day, again, to recognize and give appreciation to the men and women at our fire department who keep our community safe. And they're the ones that we call when there's a disaster or something big happening that puts the public at harm's way. So I want to thank all our firefighters for coming out and supporting this event. They came out in numbers, but more importantly, our community, they came out to say thank you. Thank you to our firefighters for your service. So another great Inglewood community event. And then I want to recognize and congratulate IUSD board member Ernesto Castillo on graduating for receiving his law degree. He's in that 1% club. So congratulations, Ernesto. Well-deserved. He had a little celebration a couple of weeks ago. And again, proud of him, but really a big thank you to his family that was always there to support him. I've never been to law school. Eloy has, and I know it's difficult, but to be able to go through it and make it is amazing. Also, this coming week, most of us will be attending IUSD's high school graduations that will be taking place Thursday. There's 3 different graduations. So congrats to all our graduates from Inglewood Unified School District. And then this Thursday at 6:30 at the District 2 Community Center, if you're not, you don't already have your Medicare. I know I just hit my golden ticket there. And so we have a speaker coming out to the District 2 Center to talk about Medicare, because I had 1,000 questions. My wife did too. And this young lady did a great presentation for us, so I invited her to come do one for our community. So it's this coming Thursday at the D2 Center. I do also want to thank Kiana and Mr. Chavez. Great presentations up here. You guys really make it look, simple and stuff, and I know how complex it is. But thank you for your presentations. And then, I know Owen Smith is out here from Miracle Theater. Real quick, 30 seconds, Mayor. I'm watching Spectrum, and who's on Spectrum? Talking about the Miracle Theater and all good things Inglewood. Owen, you were a great ambassador for our city, so thank you so much. I mean, you were on point, and my wife and I were like, man, we know that celebrity. So great job, Owen. And with that, have a great week.
Thank you. Councilman Falk, District 4.
Thank you, Mayor. I, too, want to congratulate Ernesto Castillo on his graduation. Big shout out. He is a wonderful person, a wonderful board member for Inglewood Unified School District. And so pretty much most of us on this panel here were there to wish him well because he deserves it. And I know he's going to be very successful. And then really quick, too, City Clerk, myself, and I'm not sure if Councilman Gray did it, but Women Rock, there was a lot that went into it. Me and City Clerk and our staff know. But one thing that we want to make sure that is said is that the gentlemen on this on this panel, Mayor James Buds and Councilman Morales and Councilman Padilla, they have always been so gracious in working with us, supporting the Women Rock. And so I wanted to make sure that we take this opportunity to thank you for
you,
always
guys.
being
Thank you.
so gracious and supportive in Women Rock and what we're trying to do here for the women in Inglewood. So if you guys can give me a hand clap for them, we appreciate you. And then they kind of talked about already, it was a wonderful Memorial Day service that was put on by our city, again, honoring our servicemen and those who died for this country. So I'm always happy to be there and to participate in this service. I really like the fact that our city takes our dollars to put on this event every year to honor them. We have a lot of vets and a lot of people who are in the service in the city, so they love to come out and participate in this event. So I'd like to congratulate all of our city staff, our councilmen here for participating in that event. And then I lastly wanted to talk a little bit about the City of Inglewood Music Festival. I think that all of our Inglewood residents should be receiving the announcement and getting the information. Please go to the website that is there to make sure you register for the event. It is the second year this year. We have our MC that is our very own KJLH Ade Lamar, and we have lots of great genres of music, something for everybody right here in Inglewood. That's what we're about, trying to make sure there's something for everybody in Inglewood. And so one thing that I did want to point out is that this year, your donations that you make towards this event, because this is a free event for all residents, but your donations will go towards supporting the Inglewood High School Marching Band as they represent our community, the city, in the prestigious America's National Independence Day Parade on July 4th, 2025 in Washington, D.C. So I hope that all of our residents will come out of their pocket, give a little something to get our babies to Washington, D.C. to represent this wonderful city of Inglewood. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's on June 29th, is that correct?
That's correct. Thank you. I missed saying that date,
Okay,
huh?
I just want to make sure. Councilman Ela Morales, District
Thank
3.
you. Just a little bit of everything that has already been spoken, but I do want to touch base on the difference between 21 years ago in terms of the budget. Both Mr. Weinberg and I were here, and today, and it's night and day. It doesn't happen without hard work of all staff, and of course everything has to line up right, and then we have to be in a position to make the right decision. So all of that has happened, and I remember arguing about how many sidewalks we were all getting at one time, and now our capital improvement budget is enough to where we worry about let's do it in time so we don't block all of the streets and do those things. So, I mean, it's amazing the difference. I just wanted to point it out. That being said, so Memorial Day, great event, our 75th. It's always good. What I like to see is we tend to see the same people every year that show up, which shows that they look forward to it. This is their event. This is what the one that they show up to. And it's amazing because, when it comes time when they get to introduce themselves and everything else, really kind of shows the pride that they have. And that's what makes the event so nice, that we give everybody the opportunity to get a little shout out. I'm just surprised how tall I look in these pictures.
It's those shoes. Yeah,
I gotta wear that again. And then we went, as Councilwoman Gray said it, for the U.S. vets. We have one of the best facilities for U.S. vets for their housing over on Hendry, and it's amazing how much they do there in terms of programs and who they help. Some folks stay a long time because they need to, and some folks really do get put into a job and out into the real world more stronger than they came in. So I'm just amazed by their programs. Then I do want to congratulate Ernie from the school board. You know, he is our Latino voice there. He is a friend of mine. He comes from a great family. The family extends, I don't know, they probably have like 60 or 70 people living in Inglewood. Beautiful family. They threw a great party, which we were all at, which he deserves. And it's also an example of our school district because he's a product of it. So that's amazing in itself. So, you know, congratulations to him and his family and everything that he's accomplished and will accomplish. Then I didn't know about Owen Smith up on the spectrum, but Owen, you have to pass around the link, and I want to point it out because, you know, I remember meeting Owen back when it first started, when he first got here, and you know how he was excited to be here, getting to know everybody. But you know, it's one thing if we talk about ourselves, but it's another thing when somebody who comes in from the outside gets to know us and talks so highly of us. That's a big deal. And so thank you, Owen, for being, as Councilman Padilla said, one of our ambassadors. And, you know, awesome what you're doing over there. So congratulations. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm not going to repeat anything. I'm going to have my own pictures this time.
We'll see.
Okay, the first thing, just after I left, there was a swearing-in ceremony for, what was the gentleman's name for El Segundo?
Saul Rodriguez?
For Saul Rodriguez. And one of the chiefs that came, 4 chiefs came, and all of them, including Saul, I had hired and promoted in the Santa Monica Police Department. And so I was very proud of that. Matter of fact, Alex, you were able to attend, or what date was that? Was that in March?
No, that was in April.
In April.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in all, 16 chiefs of police that I hired as policemen and promoted have ascended to that rank, and I'm very proud of that. The next, the chief of police and myself went to Minnesota to Guardian Systems to see a demo of their product. So there's a picture of me in the Minneapolis airport. But this system is millimeter wave system based, and it's the same type of product they use in the airports to see guns and knives in backpacks and on people's persons. And I think that this would be very useful for us to put in the area just outside the front doors of City Hall, because what happens if it detects a threat, it can automatically lock down doors, send a signal, or light a light. And so you don't have to wait until someone is inside the premises proper. And so they're going to come out to give us a demo. And then the Inglewood Unified School District had like a cinematography and animation Academy Awards. And there was a picture of me and the school district personnel outside that. And it was really nice. They gave out like, I don't know, 20 different awards, and after first showing all of the work of the students. I mean, the district is really coming up, and I was very proud to be there. Earlier that day, we had a graduation of the preschool over at Rogers Park. And now everybody's kid is cute, but these kids were adorable, every single one. And, you know, I was glad to be there and give a talk. And I never saw that auditorium so packed with parents and relatives. It was really something to see. We really come a long ways in Inglewood. And I want to thank Teresa and Tomas, because that park is immaculate. It's immaculate. And these kids, like I said, they're adorable. They're adorable. And then I think we have one more picture. There you go. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to adjourn remembering Willie Agee. That's the Willie Agee Playhouse, and this is 8 years to the day that we dedicated the Playhouse to Willie Agee. Now we're adjourned.
in peace.